If you have not filled out your warm-up, you need to do so. Everyone should have a T-chart with both sides filled out, please. All right, we will not be reviewing the warm-up today. Everyone should have individual goals based on what you and your partner did yesterday. Okay? I will be checking the warm-ups for a grade, however, in the future, so you need to make sure that you have filled it out, both sides, what you accomplished yesterday and then what you hope to accomplish today. You need to set a goal because I think some partnerships, okay, you all are kind of just doing random things and you need to come together and decide what is best for today's time. Okay. As I was walking around and watching the groups yesterday, I saw that a lot of students were having difficulty explaining how the sun impacts photosynthesis. So we're going to kind of take a break. We're going to do our exit slip first, and we're going to discuss this relationship between the sun and photosynthesis. So on your Post-it note, I would like for you to answer this question. I will read it out loud. You do not have to put your name on the Post-it note. I just want to see A, B, C, or D. Okay? So which best describes the effect of sunlight on the process of photosynthesis? Is it A, it makes the air around the plants warmer? Is it B, the plants use the solar energy to make chemical energy? Is it C, the sunlight increases rainfall, which plants need for photosynthesis? Or is it D, the plants use the solar energy to create conduction? So you need to write A, B, C, or D on your Post-it note. These are anonymous, so I expect everyone to participate and give their own thoughts and ideas today. Turn around, please. I'd like for you to collect this side. If you are on the left side of the room, Trey's going to collect your Post-it note. If you are on the right-hand side of the room, Hannah's going to collect your Post-it note. I'd like for you to stay quiet, please. Mm-hmm. Did you write your answer down?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Everybody get theirs collected here. Yes. And they need to go up like bars. So just stick them straight up like this. Okay? Has everyone had their Post-it collected? Okay, so we're going to wait and see what our results are. Okay, so I'd like for everyone to look up at our whiteboard, look at our class results. Looks like we have a good mixture here, okay? No one chose A, that it makes the air around the plants warmer. Okay, so let's go ahead and eliminate that answer, but I really want to talk about B, C, and D. Okay. Why would somebody And you don't have to say if you chose this answer or not, but why would someone want to pick D? Raise your hand if you could explain maybe what would be the reasoning that a 6th grade student would want to pick the answer D? Jade, what do you think?
Maybe because they think they use the heat conduction to also help with photosynthesis.
Okay, so maybe they think that the heat that is formed during conduction is the same kind that is used during the process of photosynthesis. Is there a difference between the two? What do you think? Can someone give me a real-life example of conduction? We've discussed several in class. What do you think? That's it? No one else can give me a real-life example? Austin? Okay, and what happens when you touch a hot stove? What do you feel? You feel how hot the stove is? So what is the process of conduction then based on what that example says? How can we describe it within a definition? What is conduction? Keegan?
Where heat molecules transfer from one thing to another.
When heat is transferred from one object to another. I want another example of conduction now that we've defined it. What is another example of conduction? Morgan?
When a girl's straightening her hair, how the straightener puts heat on the hair.
Yes, ladies, remember the example I gave in class. If you've ever burned yourself straightening your hair or curling your hair, that is a great example of conduction. What's another example? See a few hands go up. Anyone? Jay?
A sunburn.
A sunburn, okay. That's actually a form of radiation, but I could see where you would see that it is conduction. Okay, the heat is transferred from, I guess, one object to another. Victoria?
When you said something about going camping with the marshmallows and having a metal, wires and stuff, but you don't want, and the heat would go through the wire and then it would burn you up.
Yep, the heat from the fire goes to the wire, and eventually it's going to, since we know that metal is a great conductor of heat, it's going to travel up and eventually get to your hand. Okay, so as a class, thumbs up or thumbs down, is D the correct answer here? Is D the correct answer here? Okay, thumbs down. Conduction is not the same thing as photosynthesis. They're two different processes. Okay, so now we got B and C, and if we look up here, about half the class thinks the answer is B and half the class thinks the answer is C. Well, do I have a brave soul who picked B or C that would like to explain, defend their answer? Ricky, what did you pick?
I picked C.
Okay.
Because the sunlight does increase its rainfall because it keeps the water cycle going around because the sun evaporates the water.
Okay, so now we're talking about the water cycle. I saw a few hands rapidly go up. Trey?
I picked B.
Okay, so why did you pick B? Something completely different.
I picked B because the sunlight and the combination of the other two parts of it create a chemical reaction to make oxygen and what it needs to survive sugar.
Okay,
Glucose.
so now we're talking about, I'm getting ingredients for photosynthesis. We know sunlight is one. What are the other two? What are two other things we need so that the plants can go through this process of photosynthesis? Jacob, what's one of them? Sunlight?
Water.
Water. And what's the other one? Brandon?
Nutrients from soil.
And, which could help, but what is another necessity? Another necessity. Hannah? Ooh, that sparked a few. Michaela? It's carbon dioxide. So I know if I mix these ingredients of carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, I'm going to transform these things, and all of a sudden I've got a chemical reaction that's going on. Okay? Robert, comment?
Yeah, the reason plants have leaves is so the leaves can absorb the sunlight.
Okay, so the job of leaves is to absorb the sunlight. Okay, what takes in the water? Which part of the plant absorbs the water that we know of? Garen? The roots. So now I've got the roots and I've got the leaves working together. I've got water, I've got sunlight, and the leaves actually help to take in carbon dioxide from the air as well. Okay, I've got a brain pop video that will actually explain why it's considered a chemical reaction and how the plant physically takes that sunlight and can create a chemical reaction using these ingredients.
Dear Tim and Moby, how do plants grow? From Nance 1277. All living things need nourishment to grow, but plant food is different from people food. Plants make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis couldn't happen without the sun. Plants collect energy from sunlight and use this energy to make a sugar called glucose. Glucose is the main source of nutrition for plants, fueling their cells for function and growth. I'll show you. It's no secret that plants use their roots to drink up water from the soil. Water travels from the roots to the plant's leaves through a transport tissue called xylem, that's wood in trees. Meanwhile, leaves absorb carbon dioxide from the air through openings called stomata. The water and carbon dioxide spread through the leaves into cells called the palisade and spongy cells. These cells contain structures called chloroplasts, which are filled with a green pigment called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what makes green plants green. In photosynthesis, chlorophyll traps energy from sunlight, storing it as chemical energy.
Sit up.
This process splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen atoms. The chemical energy is used to create glucose from the hydrogen and carbon dioxide. The glucose dissolves into extra water molecules and gives the plant plenty of food for growth. The leaves release oxygen as a waste product. That's one reason that plants are so important to us. They absorb our carbon dioxide and leave us with oxygen. We inhale the oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide back into the air. Yeah, I guess you could call it a partnership, except we eat them. Moby, drinking sugar is not going to make you grow. It's just going to make you hyper. Oh boy.
Okay, so in the video they showed you how during photosynthesis they break those molecules up from the water and the carbon dioxide, and they actually take it with some of that solar energy, and now we've got a mixture of chemicals going on so that the plant can form food in the form of glucose, okay, and it actually supplies the earth with oxygen. Okay. When you all are working in your groups today, one thing I want you to consider is you have to write about the relationship between the sun and photosynthesis. Okay, so we've got light, water, carbon dioxide coming into the leaf, and then the leaf uses its chlorophyll in order to actually undergo this chemical reaction. So here's what the equation looks like. I've got carbon dioxide. When I add water and energy from the sun, I end up getting new products. I'm getting new stuff from that. I'm getting glucose, and then it's also producing oxygen. So in your groups today, while you're doing your review collages, I'm going to be coming around and I'm going to see what it is you're writing about regarding photosynthesis, because a lot of groups yesterday were having a really difficult time explaining the relationship between plants making their own food and using that sunlight to do so. Okay? So here's what I'd like to see. So you're supposed to review these 4 concepts. If you notice right here, I've changed it just a little bit. I want each group to explain how the sun impacts photosynthesis by writing out the chemical equation, which is right here. Okay? I want you to physically write that out somewhere in your collage. Now you can do it with the magazine cutouts if you'd like, if you want to be creative about it. You can make it in bubble letters. Okay, it doesn't have to be standard like this, but it needs to be present on your collage somewhere. And then somewhere near it, you need to explain this process in paragraph form. What does this equation mean? What is the plant having to take in, and what process is it undergoing in order to feed itself? Okay, are there any questions about that? Let's see, we do have a different schedule today. This class lets out at 1:34. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes. When you hear the alarm go off, that means it is time to start packing stuff away. I need my magazines brought back up, scissors, glue, anything else you needed to use with your partner. Okay? Are there any questions about what we're doing today? For the next 25 minutes, you need to be working on your collage. It needs to look very similar to this. Okay? No questions or comments? All right. I'm going to set the alarm. Let's freeze this. Okay. And our collages are actually back here. Oops. Do you mind if I move through?
Pictures and then descriptions on it.
Perfect. I would like to see your photosynthesis one done as well.
Green and blue. Right here.
Is that where photosynthesis is going to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you write the equation out
And this is
and talk about wind.
Like show the arrows going out.
Very cool. I like how you're doing the color overlapping each other. It gives it,
And we cut it so like it doesn't have any points.
aren't you just creative? You all have 2 seasons.
Sydney.
That's all right. You could take, if you go up there and get a piece of construction paper and cut something out and just paste it there, it'll be fine. You need to put photosynthesis here then. I need to see more out of this group today. You got 25 minutes. I should see at least half of this poster filled up. I can fix that. Keegan, there are also more magazines back where Hannah and Garen are standing, if you want to use those as well. You're welcome.
Because like we need like precipitation, evaporation.
Well, here's what I suggest. If you cannot find a magazine clipping that you really like, you can draw a diagram. Okay? So I wouldn't spend a lot of time looking for one. Okay? You kind of have to make the executive decision. Do we need to draw it and move on to something else? Okay? Because you don't have a lot done on your poster right now. I would like to see some explanations on here. Okay? You need to make sure you leave some room to do some writing. Because if you look up here, you're supposed to have a section where you're explaining the impact of the sun on each one of these, okay? So keep that in mind as you're cutting and pasting for the rest of these.
Where do you look through this magazine?
Jade, where's your partner?
Oh, he's back there.
Oh, he's getting a magazine. Seasons? Very cool. You may want to get an index card to do your explanations. So I wouldn't put anything more graphic on this portion because you need room to write.
Like can we like just cut the index card in pieces and put them on?
Sure. Yep. I would not use chalk to do any of your explanations with.
I know. I was just gonna.
No, I think that's cool. I like that you used a different material, but what I'm afraid of is once we start stacking them, if you write an explanation, it's going to smear out.
Do you have a stapler?
I do. I think a group is using it, however. Find Jacob Hall. He had it last. I only have one stapler. That group has it. Hey, finish this. Trying. What comes after evaporation?
Condensation.
What happens during condensation?
Like water condenses into clouds.
What does it mean to condense?
It makes clouds. Like forms of clouds.
So when it's up in the air, What state of matter is it in?
Gas.
Okay, what happens to that gas when it condenses? What does it mean to condense?
Well, it comes together.
Comes together in the form of what? Is it still a gas when it comes together? Not yet. You're jumping the gun.
Liquid.
During condensation, the gas comes together.
The gas comes together, goes up into the clouds, then precipitation comes.
Clouds are considered liquid form.
I thought it was gas.
In a way. But when something condenses, it cools down and becomes a liquid. Chance, this would be the perfect opportunity to write that out since we're discussing it. How far have we gotten? I want you to do water cycle. Here, you, this one. Okay? So Trey, you do these two. She needs to do these two. So it's a partnership.
Okay.
Got it?
You do wind in the water cycle.
Okay, Garen.
Because this would be considered raw.
What is the picture of? River of ice. Yeah, that is runoff.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Garen.
Here, these are for your explanation since I don't see any yet. I want those filled out.
A cloud for a water cycle and the explanation.
Yep. Very creative. She's trying to be creative, Jay. Here, while she's doing that, you can write out explanations. Coming around with paper. If I don't see explanations on your posters, I'm going to ask that you fill these out and stick them on there. I do. Is this for seasons? Okay.
Tell explanation on precipitation and
So you're going to want to go through all 4 stages that we've talked about. And it doesn't matter where you start because it's a circle and it's never ending. So you could start with runoff if you wanted to. You could start with precipitation, but they need to go in order. Okay, so while one person is cutting,
I know. We're rewriting him.
what about photosynthesis?
we're gonna write that.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, I want it on here. Fill it out before you go.
Isn't this for when photosynthesis seasons in?
Yep.
Thank you.
How we do? Ooh.
Condensation, except for we don't have precipitation and shit.
What is precipitation? I know you know what that is because you were trying to drill me with what?
Like water droplets like come from the sky because it's raining, and it hits like the lakes and stuff and hits like on top, and then just and it forms like a big old rain like kind of thing.
Okay, so rain's an example. Precipitation. Are there any other examples?
As many as you can put like that.
Does it fall in any other form besides rain?
Liquid.
Rain. What did we see last night?
Gas. No. Snow.
What else?
What else did we see last night?
Well, not last night, but snow, rain. What are other types of precipitation? What is it called when it comes in the big ice balls?
Oh, cool. I forgot.
What do you think?
Hail.
So we got rain, hail, snow. Do you know what the last one is?
There's another one?
when the rain freezes. What's that called?
Rain freezes.
What's that called? What's it called when rain freezes, Roberto?
Yeah.
When it sleet. Sleet's the other one. So you need to write that down. So are you going to write your explanations in these things right here? Okay.
And then we're gonna do that for everyone. We're gonna put it right there.
All right. How's this group doing?
We're doing good. Well, we're cutting out letters.
More like this.
We got some crayons.
Making it.
So, like, you'll fold it open?
Yeah.
Like,
So-
Like you
the
do one at
names
a
on
separate
the
time.
front.
Oh, is the explanations going to go on the inside?
Yeah. And then like the word's gonna go on the outside.
There you go. You can write your explanations on there.
Can we
Post them
cut
on the
them out?
inside. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I've given you 4 circles for 4 different explanations. Is this for wind?
Yeah, this is really.
And you're going to explain it here? Nice.
That's our evaporation so far. You can see like the sun's rays going down to the water.
I like your little fishes. They're cute. But what do we know about evolution? Do you think these fishes will survive very long? Being black?
No.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's the only color.
Probably not a good adaptation, right?
Did you hear about my sister breaking her leg?
I did.
And Taylor breaking her arm or something?
Yeah, your mom told me last night that Taylor slipped in her garage and broke her elbow. Or something, her growth plate.
That sucks.
It's not very good, is it? Yeah. We'll make it. We'll be fine. We've got a lot of good girls on the team. We'll survive. Do we want to use this? Was this cut out for a reason? Or is that just an extra? What do you think? Yeah? Okay, so I'd like to see some explanations from this group before you go. Okay, 4 circles for 4 different explanations. What I would do, Jack, is I'd pick one, I'd write out my explanation, then I'd pass it to Ricky, and Ricky can choose one. Okay? So that you're not doing all 4 by yourself. Jackie, are you missing a chair today? Yeah?
It's fine, I can see.
You sure? Jansen, what are we looking for? What is that? Statue of Liberty. You looking for wind? I know it's blue, but we can't see it. Is there any tornadoes or anything in here that we can use? No. No tornadoes? What is that? What does that look like, Jansen? Which one? Lightning? It's water. Still looking for wind.
Oh, here's an H.
Is this what is it called again? Snow? No. Is this weather? It's snow. It's season. It's winter.
She's right.
So about the water cycle, you got like they've explained like
What is the relationship between the sun and the water cycle? You need to start writing explanations. I'm taking these from you. I'll be back to check on you.
Is it like air kind of like clouds?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ooh, I haven't seen that picture yet.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
You like my evaporation?
Let me see. Are you going to write your explanation on that, or are you just using it?
We're just using it.
Where does this one go?
Where did it go?
Did it have an explanation on it? Okay, let's start writing, girls. You do too? You do too. She's already started on the water cycle, so you need to choose one. Photosynthesis? Photosynthesis. We just went over photosynthesis. We just did it.
You just did?
We watched a brain pot. Yeah. You drew this? Both of you drew this? I was gonna say, this looks like your drawing. Emptying out. What is it emptying out of? The sun impacts the water cycle by going around and around like water emptying on a hot day. Be more specific. What does the sun do to the ocean water?
Like it evaporates.
Nope. What is the sun doing to the ocean water?
As evaporation.
What is evaporation? What's the water actually doing?
Like evaporating to the
You got to explain it without using the word evaporating or evaporation. What is evaporation? Can you give me another example of when you would see evaporation?
like in my ball.
Maybe. You need to go get a book and open it up to page 71. She's doing this one on her own. Go get a book. Page 71. Yes.
If we don't have enough room to cut these out, put it by the word, can we just put this whole paper and just tape it at the bottom of the thing?
You sure can. Filled out though, right? I'm saying you're gonna, with your finished product, it's gonna be filled out, correct? Page 71.
I don't know, it's somewhere there. No, it's a picture in there. That could work, I guess.
Okay. Read this out loud to me.
Evaporation takes place when water from the oceans and the on-surface changes into water vapor. Energy from the sun causes evaporation. Water gains energy during evaporation.
Okay, so what happens during evaporation? We got the ocean water and we have the sun. What is the sun doing to the ocean water?
Like it's getting hotter.
It's heating it up. Very good. So the sun's getting heat energy onto the ocean water. Now, is ocean water liquid, gas, or solid?
Liquid.
Liquid. When I add heat to liquid, what happens to it?
It goes into gas or
It goes into a gas. That's what happens during evaporation. It's a liquid going into a gas because I'm heating the liquid up.
so
That's what I want you to put there.
erase water out on the hot.
Yes, I want you to erase that and I want you to tell me about how liquid in the ocean heats up and turns into what? It's a liquid going to what state? Very good. That's what you need to write. I'll be back to check on you.
Miss Gregory, can we put this somewhere, like put this whole picture on there?
Because they're moving.
Yeah, I guess.
Scissors back.
You can.
Can't find a window.
I want to see it. Because I know you can do it, I just think you're avoiding it. Let me see. I'd like to read what you got. The sun makes warm air.
We didn't write it down.
Where can I find warm air at? Equator. And what? How does warm air move? No, how does it move? Like what, does it go up? Does it go down? Does it go diagonal?
Warm air goes up, cold air goes down.
I want you to talk more about that. So I'm not getting that from this. When I read this, it's different than what you just told me. So I want you to put what you just told me into words. Okay? Yes. Make sure that do you see the equation up there? The sunlight plus H2, that needs to be in there as well.
Is a runoff? Runoff is when the water goes into a bigger body of water.
Usually it's like a small stream.
When a stream goes to a bigger body of water like an ocean.
Hold on a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
Isn't it cool? And then our cloud goes like
Did you give some of these to Jade?
What?
These.
yeah.
I saw it and I was like, where did you get those? She's like, Michaela gave it to me. I was like, I already knew that. I just wanted to see what she would tell me.
This is the Spanish glossary.
You can write it in Spanish if you want, but then you can't share it. No?
Spanish, you can write it in Spanish.
Why not? I took 4 years of Spanish. I could probably read it. Probably. What are you doing here? Just stages? Similar to this? You got 1, 2, 3? Okay, so what's the first stage of making wind? What's the first thing we need to know?
The sun warms up the water.
The sun warms up which part of the earth the most? Which part of the earth gets most direct sunlight? Okay, that's where you'd want to start for number 1. Start at the equator. Chance, go back to your group, please. Oh, is that your stuff? Why don't you just move your stuff over here? Very cool.
And we're gonna put it like
Right here?
there.
And so what do we have to say about photosynthesis?
Well, I'm not finished explaining it. I mean, that one.
Oh, but you have the equation here. So if I asked you to explain to me in words what this equation means, could you do it? I want to know. What if I asked you, what does this equation mean?
Okay, sunlight, that's what helps the plant grow and makes glucose. Say that word. But
What else? What are the other ingredients to make glucose, though?
H2O.
Which is what?
H2O is water.
And then what is CO2?
CO2 is condensation. No, I'm thinking water cycle right now. CO2 is. I know it because it equals oxygen, but it's.
So
Make it with your body.
he just gave you a hint. You can make it with your body. There you go. Think carbon dioxide, carbon for the C. Here's what I need. One person from each group needs to bring up my material, such as scissors, glue, coloring utensils. The other person needs to clean up their area, any scrap of paper,
Don't worry about it.
any extra gluing that needs to be done. You need to do it now.
Don't worry about it. It won't work for you. We'll find another one later.
Chance, please do not throw things in here. Said please do not throw things in here. I saw something go flying in this general area. Evaporation is when the water.
What's with all the scissors?
I know. I got mine down.
Very cool. Have all the vocabulary terms on there.